Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to our latest PeopleHR webinar. My name is Bethany and I'm a Customer Success Manager here at the Access Group, and today we're going to be looking at building popular HR and management reports. But before we get started, I just want to make sure that you can hear me clearly. If you can't, please check your audio settings. Don't worry if you miss anything, because we are recording this webinar and you'll receive a copy of the recording via email shortly after. Again, there are a lot of people registered onto this webinar this afternoon, so we have put together an FAQ guide which can be found and downloaded from the panel on the left hand side of your screen now under the handout section. Don't worry if you can't find that handout section there, because we will also send you a link in our follow-up email so that you can access and download the handout guide from there. The length of the webinar is going to be around 30 minutes. And because we have a lot to cover, we're going to jump straight into the demonstration, which will go over holiday/absence reports, remaining balances of holiday entitlement, compliance, so expiry dates, document signature status and training reports, and then we'll go on to turnover and headcount reports. And then I will wrap up for us at the end. So it's on to the product demonstration, which is going to be done by my colleague Callum, who is a PeopleHR trainer. Over to you, Callum.
In this, I want to give you an overview of the Queries tab. With the queries, we can use it to save us loads of time and loads of effort in reporting, save us time and effort in sending reports backwards and forwards. The queries are also very, very useful in powering different areas of the system. So when it comes to building queries, first on the left-hand side, come to our Queries tab. Hit the plus icon at the top to build a new one. And then we'll go through the different areas of building a query, what all the buttons mean, and hopefully give you a good understanding of what you can use the queries for. The first couple of examples I'm going to go through are going to be holidays and absence queries. So looking at bookings on individuals' planners. These queries come in especially handy for managers when looking forward to see what's booked in users' planners for a group, for admin to see an overall of what's happened for a period of time. So yeah, looking at the individual bookings gives us a nice look at exactly what's going on in people's planners. So on the first one, when it comes to building a query, the left-hand side is sort of a grayer column, which I refer to as more the categories. So I'm going to use holidays for this example. On the right-hand side, you'll see sort of the whiter area. These are more the specific areas. So we do have a few defaults that come automatically, but when we do select a category on the left-hand side, you'll notice all the relevant fields appear to the bottom on the right-hand side. So as I untick that and retick that, you'll see all the holiday fields appear at the bottom. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to include holiday start and end dates, because I want to see the dates of the bookings. The holiday type, simply just to exclude public holidays, as I know everybody's got those. I want to include the holiday duration, and you'll notice we've got both hours or days for these examples. I'm just going to use days for this one. The holiday status, and this is for me to show that I only want to see approved holidays in this example, because I'm going to show the last year's worth of data, and I only want to see approved. So anything that's been declined, or if it never got approved, I just want to exclude that. You'll see beneath we've got a number of more options which refer more to what's happened with the booking. So who's approved it, who's requested it, when was it requested, when was it approved. So a lot more of the backdating and auditing side of things. You can go next on to the filters and options screen. So again, on the left hand side, starting first of all, you want to select the specific areas that you want to filter on. So for me, first of all, I know I want to see the last 12 months, so I can use this filter here. Similarly, we could use something like last X days and specify, so we could say show the last 30 days, last 40 days. But for this example, I'll just show the last year's worth, so we've got a bit of data showing. Again, holiday type, I'm just going to ensure that I'm not seeing public holidays. So we've also got holidays and toil. Obviously, these are both bookable on the planners. So I'm just going to say I don't want to see public holidays. The duration will show the length of the bookings. And then finally, the holiday status. Again, I want to filter on this. Again, I only want to see approved bookings. So the rejected ones or the pending ones, I'm not interested in this on this report. So I just go to the next screen and get to our naming and descriptions. So I'm just going to call this holiday report. Keep it nice and simple for now. You notice we also have a category query, category area for the queries. So grouping them together, giving them relevant names and categories really helps us keep on top of things and keeps things tidy later down the line. A couple of buttons we've got here, I'm just going to cover really quickly. So the option here, only admin can access. In the system we can give additional or increased access to users. So for example, if a manager or an employee did have access to the queries tab because they need to do somewhat specific reporting, then we can tick this button on our queries just to ensure that those users don't see what we've got or what we've built. So this might just be referred to like cases or salaries or things that they need to be seen by anyone else. The editing locked button will ensure that no other user in the system can edit this query. So we will cover the edit button in just a second, but what that tick box means is other users can view the query, they can copy from it, but they won't be able to amend it. So when it comes to things like hot sheets and Ripple, where the specific query is powering the Ripple or the hot sheet, then editing locked just ensures that no other user can tweak it and break it, essentially. So when things are running in the background for us, it's a handy button to have. Description, self-explanatory. This report is to show the last 12 months of booked holidays. Very simple, but the more information, the better. First of all, just running through the different options, so you'll see all the bookings that we've got over the last 12 months. The duration of those bookings, again just specify that they're only holiday or toil bookings, and the status obviously being approved. The first thing we can do is see the number of records, export them directly to Excel or CSV, so we can actually do what we want with our data directly, so we can take that straight out of the system, remove some columns, filter it, turn it into charts, graphs, etc, etc. The reminders, as you see top right, when we use the reminders, what we're going to be doing is asking the system to generate a task for us, hopefully just to help us keep on top of running a query once a week, once a month. This will specifically be for us as admin, so again, using the hot sheets would give us more a automatic reminder for managers and admin to run it, because they would be able to run it daily or whenever they like. They'd have free will. In terms of the buttons on the left hand side here, firstly the options. The show history will simply show any changes. So if there's a field where there might have been a change or two, we'll see the changes, and hopefully we'll see when they've been changed as well if we include that information. So something like job roles, when they've changed and what they've changed from and to. When we use the include leavers option, this will obviously just include any leavers into our query. So of course if I tick this now, we might see an increase in users, as there may be some users over the last 12 months who have booked some holidays. There's one extra. So someone in this is a leaver. I can include that information to see who it was, but again, that's where we come into our edit button. So the edit button is essentially why we refer to trial and error a lot in the query builder, because we might not get it perfect first time. We might want to build into a query, slowly filter it down. So when we use the edit button, we can come in and literally change everything about the query, but ideally we'll just add some more fields, add some more specific filters, and tweak it essentially to a point that we want it to be perfect. When it comes to saving them, as we're on the results screen, the queries are already saved at this point, so all we need to do is simply close it. If we were to use the Save As button, what we're asking the system to do is create a duplicate of that query. So obviously if we want to build another holiday report and not affect our original one, then we'd build a duplicate, play about with it, and then we've always got our original template to work from if need be. So the Save As button is quite literally a copy from tool. So if I close this query now, you'll notice straight away I'll be able to go find it. And there it is. So we know it's instantly saved. So once we've finished building our query, I'll just go back to it again. A couple of different options on here. Again, first of all, you'll see our categories. So obviously when we do put it in our category, we can come to our reporting category and start finding our relevant reports. On the right hand side, you'll see the blue star, which is simply just a highlighter. So obviously when we do have our full list of queries, highlighting a couple that we're going to be using or the ones that are most relevant helps us just find them on that list, or helps us remember the name if we haven't. The bin on the right hand side would be to delete the queries. So when we do bin it, I'll leave these for now. But we just simply give a reason why we've deleted it, because again, obviously, if we do want to report on the queries themselves, we can do. Moving on to the next one, we're going to have a look at an absence report. So again, going through the steps as we did before, left-hand side, we're going to look at the category. We're going to be looking at absences here. And as you'll notice on the bottom of the right-hand side, you'll start to see all the absence fields be included. So again, in this scenario, I'm going to be looking at previous 12 months of sickness data. So again, we need the sickness start and end dates. If we want to include the reason, again, if we're giving it to managers, it might be more relevant. If it's something like payroll, we might not need the reason. So again, keeping our queries tidy. They are reports at the end of the day, so only the relevant information really needs to show. We want to see the sickness duration. Again, this would be in days for me in this scenario. And then again, if we look below, you'll see a number of different options of reporting on the sicknesses themselves, so whether they require certain certifications or returns to work to be completed, whether they have been completed or not, when the sickness is added, when it's been updated, who it's been added by, who it's been updated by, so all the relevant information for us as admin to report on it to make sure people are doing the correct steps. A few other options like include an absence scheme to see if that's going to be affecting our Bradford factor score, so if that's something you use in your system, then seeing if that sickness is included, and then maybe even showing the Bradford factor score as well to ensure that we have a full picture of what's going on in the employee's sickness at the time. For now, I'm just going to keep a nice simple query. I just want to show any of the sickness over the last 12 months, and I will include the reasons just to see what's going on. And again, nice and simple. When we get to the filters, I just want to see the last 12 months. No extra filters needed because I want to get a nice clear picture, because I will come edit this one in just a second. Absences last 12 months. Again, I'll pop this in my reporting category. We've only got 8 absences over the last 12 months. Again, you can see we've got a clear picture of what the absence was, when it was, and how long the absence lasted. And again, using that sort of trial and error, that edit option again now, what I want to do is I want to go add a few more fields because I want to get a clearer picture of these absences and see what was going on. So I'm going to see if any, because I did see a half day in there, I want to see if that was morning or afternoon. I want to see whether any emergency leave has been used, if these are included in the absence scheme, so if these are affecting the Bradford factor scores, and whether these have been marked as paid or not. Just go back to my filters. We could include any filters on top of this. So for example, we might want to say only show me things that have been listed to be paid or unpaid. For now, I'm going to keep it nice and generic. I just want to see the data. So again, now as I scroll to the right hand side, there has been emergency leave used for 3 occasions. The sickness that was a half day was a morning sickness. And they've all been unpaid sickness as per our company policy. So if anybody had been changing them, we've got a quick overview so finance aren't confused or questioning us why things are being marked incorrectly. We can keep up to date on our data nice and easily. So just running over to the hot sheet side of things now, because as we build our holidays and absence queries, for us as admin, we're going to be looking at everybody as a company, so we're not going to be looking at these as often as a manager, for example. So for a manager, they might want to look at these queries every day, once a week, once a month. So when it comes to hot sheets, what we're asking the system to do is the lovely queries that we build and all the data that we have, we're quite literally linking that and giving an Excel sheet to a user on the other side so they can see the live data. So every day they go forward, they're going to always see the rolling 12 months, for example. So any query that we build, the first thing we're going to do is put it into our API key. Before I jump into that, I'll show you the hot sheet side of things really, really quickly. So when it comes to building the hot sheets, we can download the hot sheet itself first of all, which is simply just an Excel sheet with a couple of extra bits of functionality essentially built into it. So you'll see the options to enable content, enable editing. So when you do download this sheet, you'll see it's quite obvious. You'll have a couple of extra options, and this is where we refer to the API key. So when you do get into your Excel sheet, you'll have to input your API key and the name of the query. So as per the query we've just built, we come to our settings, we come to our API keys, and if we haven't already, build a hot sheet API key, and all we're going to use in our hot sheet API key is the query areas. So we're going to find our specific queries we want to add to it. So absences last 12 months. And then we also had the holiday report. There it is. And we highlighted it. Easier to find. Save that. Save that. And you'll see our API key appear. And then using these pieces of paper on the right hand side, we can copy our key. And then when it comes back to the hot sheet, we paste in our API key, as well as the exact name of the query that we've built, auto refresh the data, and then we know that the manager who receives that sheet, they get updated data daily, it's live to the system, and it's easy and saves us time. So moving on from the individual bookings reporting, so holidays and absences, what's in users planners? A major query that we always build is remaining balances, remaining holiday. So towards the end of the reporting year, towards the end of the calendar year maybe, we want to know how many remaining holidays users have. This is very important for managers so they can give those gentle nudge to the users to make sure they get those days booked in. Often we find if days are left over the carryover, these will be lost. So letting these people know as soon as possible is very, very helpful. Dissimilar to the holiday and absence queries, we will be looking at an overall year, so not individual bookings, but an actual reporting year each time. So when we're looking for our individual year, we want to grab the annual leave date, so whether that's this year, last year, next year even. We also want to look at the overall balance that users have in the bank, so what they start the year with or what they currently hold, and then their remaining balance, so what's left out of their bookings. So we can filter on this further to say only show me users with a certain amount. Obviously if you've got more than 5 days, for example, then we want to see you so we can give you that sort of nudge to get those days booked in or lose them. The next thing I want to do is just how holidays are recorded. So this will just let me know that I'm only looking at users in days. Again, I could do hours in a separate query, but ideally we would keep these two queries separated because our filters would differentiate between the two areas. First of all, again on the left hand side, always specifying what we want to filter on. So again, we're looking at only users in days here. In terms of the year we're looking at, we'll look at the current year so we can get an idea. Sort of we're sort of a quarter way through the year now. We want to see what people are at sort of coming up to the halfway point. If people have booked everything or maybe nothing. We can get an idea of what we're looking at. So we're looking at the current year, and then the final two fields will show us what balances we do have. Pop it in our reporting category, and let's get to our results. So ideally here we should be seeing all the users in the system currently. Obviously only looking at people with days. The current year, so 2022, and then what they started with, and then what their current remaining balance is as well. So we'll take the top user for example, Callum Johnson. So he started the year with 29. At this point in time, currently he's got 20 left. So again, we could have a look at whether we could filter to see whether they've got public holidays included or not, but this would give us a good idea of who's got what left at this point in time. Again, we want to get a bit more specific, so when we're coming out to managers, we might want to let them know, we don't want to show them everybody essentially, we'll only show them the relevant users. So we might want to filter down to say, only show me users that are over the 5-day mark. At this point in time will be quite a lot of them. But then we might want to say, only show me people that report to a certain person. So we might want to say, only show me people that report to, and we'll specify a specific manager here. And this will only give us a list of managers. So we don't have to look through the whole company and try to find the manager's name. When we are using the reports to field, it's clever enough to know who's a manager, who's got someone reporting to them. And then we'll grab someone and we'll grab a team. So now we'll see specifically Amy's team. As you can see here, so she's got 23 people in her team, and then, or 23 people in her team, currently over the 5-day mark. Just make sure we leave that filter on there. . Wonderful. And then we see those reduced down. No users below 5 days now. So moving on from remaining balances, going to have a quick look at headcount. Again, another thing with headcount, with staff turnover, we can look at particular years, particular points in time. Again, these referring back to the hot sheets again, these again are really handy for managers and people outside of the query builder to have in place, especially sort of finance and those sorts of people reporting. So quick look at a headcount query. These are built in a particular way, which I'll show you in just a second. But with these queries, we're looking at the number of records up here, so we can see exactly how many users we've got in the system at that time. Currently, I'm looking specifically at 2021. So for the entire year, I just want to see who was here for the entire year, essentially. So with these queries, with the filters, we want to say, firstly, only show me people who have a start date prior to the current year. So I want to see all of 2021. So if you started 1st of January 2022 or later, then I have no need to see you in this query, only earlier. At the same time, I want to ensure that I'm only showing people with either no leaving date, so they've never been marked as a leaver, or if they do have a leaving date, then that leaving date again is only this year or later. So so greater than the 31st would be the 1st of January in this situation. So if anybody's got a leaving date of 1st of January, I still do want to see you, basically, because you won't be leaving until 2022, meaning you're part of the headcount for that year. With this little build here, we can get quite specific, so we could go down to the irrelevant month, irrelevant day even. So when we do this, we often find that we'll build multiple. So currently I've got 2021. I'm going to quickly build 2019 as well. 2020, sorry. So the year before. And then with this, we can start to export them, take them into CSV, into Excel, and see the differences over the years, over the months. So again, depending on what we want to build or what we want to take out of the system, we can start to specify. So simply, I'm just going to go a year back on both filters. So now I know I'm only looking at 2020 for the entire year. And I get a slight difference in numbers. I can trust that that's my head count for the year. So again, if you see any of the leaving dates now on the right hand side, these are only users that have left the 1st of January 2021 or later. So these will all be 2021 or 2022 leaving dates. And again, if you want to have a quick look at the start dates, you'll see all these users have started earlier than we specified. And of course, at this point now, we'd love to export to Excel, export to CSV, and then we have all our data at our fingertips to do whatever we want with. Build charts, build graphs, but it's quick and easy to download and get those out of the system. Next, moving on to sort of compliance queries. So firstly, I want to have a look at, simply, we're going to see outstanding documents. So documents that haven't been signed. So we're looking for any users that haven't signed any documents. Again, we could end up with multiple users here. So a user might have 3 or 4 documents outstanding. But again, in terms of our reports, and going back again to our hot sheets, very, very handy for managers to know this information so they can give those gentle nudges. The system does send reminders regarding to document signatures that are outstanding, so these do sort of go hand in hand. So firstly, I'm just going to have a quick simple look at all documents signed. So we'll have a full record of all our signed documents in the system, when they were signed, when they were added, so we've got a full record of what's gone on with our documents. And then the more important one we want to look at is the documents unsigned. So with this one, we'll see all the outstanding documents. And if we take a quick look at the filters, what we'll see is we're looking specifically for whether that document is required to be signed. So I want to say, yes, it is required to be signed. We need a signature on this document. And then at the same time, only ones that haven't been signed. So yes, it has to have a signature on it, and no, it currently hasn't got a signature on it. And if we want to go one step further than that, for managers, for example, we might want to say, just show me the last month or so. Using X days is fantastic because then we can specify a number. So usually for managers, I like to say, let's show them the last month or two. So usually around 60 days or so. Again, if managers come back as an admin, obviously we pass out these hot sheets, pass out the queries and say, look, this is what the query's doing. Obviously, if they turn around and say, oh, I'd love a bit more information, I wish I could see the last 3 months, just double check. Again, we can adjust these and filter them and edit them at any time. There's a bit of trial and error that comes with building all the queries, and that's why the edit button is so often used, because we can really start to specify what we're looking for. So within the last 60 days, we only have one outstanding document in the system. Moving on to more reporting on dates and timing, so similar to reminders for users and especially reminders for managers in this scenario. If we have a look at probation dates, so again, any bit of information in the system that has a date with it, or any bit of information in the system at all really, we can query and filter on. But especially with the dates, what we'll find is we can look at relevant periods of time. So especially for probations, we want to have a look at upcoming probations. So for managers, booking in probation meetings, speaking to the employees about probation, they want to see only the relevant news at the relevant times again. So I've got a simple query there that shows us all probation dates in the system, so we can always have a look at that. But more specifically, we're going to have a look at upcoming probations. So within this query here, I'm just going to have a quick look at the filters first of all. We're only looking at the next 60 days. So within the current month, really, and then the next 30 days on top of that, I tried to design it for. Obviously, if we are looking at 60 days in the future, the managers have a bit more information than they might require. No harm, no foul. Because obviously, if they see a little bit extra, they know that's 2 months down the line, or that's the end of the next month. No concern to them. So when they do have this query, they can see who their relevant users are, and obviously contact them in the relevant time. Again, going back to the hot sheets one more time, if managers have this on their desktop, they can access this every morning. It would stay live to the system. So obviously, by using the next X days, it'll always be updating with the current day, so it'll always be looking 60 days in the future. So obviously with a hot sheet, as that updates live as well, the manager will always have 60 days in the future worth of data, hopefully meaning they won't miss anything. And then the final thing, I'm just going to cover quickly, and just going to go search quickly. And this is going to be training, so looking at training, but ideally this could be any type of logbook. And obviously logbooks being custom, we can build any logbook we like. So querying on those logbooks and all the information in there is paramount. So looking at the outstanding training query here, obviously what we want to see, and again going back to those hot sheets, going back to what managers want information-wise for reporting, we're going to see outstanding training. So if it's been completed, if it's all good to go, we're not going to be fussed. But here we're going to have a look at outstanding training or any training that's in progress. So we can have a quick look and again, chase up those users who haven't started it or who have started it but not quite finished it yet. So it does give us a very big hand in keeping on top of employees from an admin point of view, keeping on top of managers and ensuring that they have all the relevant information at all times. And again, going back to the hot sheets one more time, these are so easy to keep up to date. And once you get used to building the queries and designing the queries properly and using the relevant filters, you'll find that your queries will essentially run live. So any hot sheets, any manager information that goes with that would all be running live as well. So the conversations or the tasks of having to send data back and forth or having to send reports out once a week, once a month, this will all become irrelevant because the manager will have the information at all times. They won't need to bug you. As nice as they might be, we don't want to spend all our time sending reports backwards and forwards.
Thank you very much, Callum, for that demonstration. Now, as I said earlier on, any questions that you've got should hopefully be answered within our FAQ guide. If not, we do also have our help centre, which is a good place to check out, and we have our support team on hand. Please just raise a case via your usual channel and we will get back to you there. We will shortly be confirming the details of our next webinar, and as soon as we do, it will be promoted via a banner in the top of PeopleHR, and it will also be advertised through our release notification page as shown in the screenshot here. Finally, there will be a survey that comes up on screen at the end of this webinar. I would really appreciate it if you can please complete that. It asks for your likeliness to recommend this webinar and Access as a whole. We measure it from 0 to 10, so 0 to 6 is unlikely to recommend, 7 and 8 is neither likely or unlikely to recommend, and 9 and 10 is likely to recommend. It will also ask for any future webinar suggestions and any other feedback. And that's it from both of us. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to attend. We hope that you found it useful, and we hope to see you at our next webinar. Thank you, everyone.